right, welcome back to All Hitches, Nova's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. I'm doing well. I'm plugging along, right? Plugging along during these long winter months.
I mean, look, day by day, by day, by day, we're getting there. We are getting there. We're approaching, and soon we're gonna start getting more daylight soon.
Yeah.
You know?
Although I was thinking about, how cold, that's been recently. But I think the reason it feels so cold is because our fall was so mild. We had 80 degree days, right? In November.
That's it.
That's why it feels so cold, because there was no gradual cool down, right? It was really warm and then I was about to cuss. Cold.
Spot on. I mean, up until like Thanksgiving, and then it hit like a Mike Tyson uppercut.
Yes, it did.
Right?
Yes.
It was like right around Thanksgiving, because I remember we had family over and it was decent, and then they left, and then I was going to put my lights up, and I'm like, damn, I didn't put my lights up. And then first week of December, and it was cold outside.
Yeah.
And really, we haven't looked back. We haven't looked back. Now, I got some news, though. Got some big news. Oh, yeah. So it is our anniversary, my 20-year wedding anniversary later this year in May. And we got a lot of stuff going on in May, and it was end of May and June and stuff. So we're gonna have we're gonna go out of town in the spring, early spring, and we're gonna go to Aruba.
Aruba, Jamaica.
Yeah, I booked it last night. I booked it last night.
Oh, very nice. You're not gonna do the obligatory renewal of the vows and have the whole wedding ceremony over again and stuff like that?
Not the ceremony, but I've heard her say, like, pondering to herself or to the kids or something, that she wants me to renew the vows. I don't even know what that means.
That means like you get in front of somebody and
it just means you propose again? Is that what that means?
No, you renew the vows. I mean, like you have the ceremony again. That's what that means. You mean you stand the altar.
Just us two with no one around?
I mean, depending on how you want to do it. I mean, like, usually a lot of people, when they hit the 20, 25s, they do like the whole like wedding reception, like they kind of do the thing all over again. You're
not doing that.
You're not doing that? You don't like that? Weddings are fun.
Yeah, I mean, but just the formal event thing, no.
You don't like to put on a good tux?
I mean, I got a couple nice,
Oh, do you own a tux?
I don't own. I own a really, really nice black suit. It's not a tux.
Did you wear
it? I bought it 2 years ago. I upgraded my black suits a couple years ago. I could, put a bow tie on with it or a black tie. But it's not a formal. It's not a tux. Not a tuxedo.
So you really? I don't. Wow. Okay.
No, I've never really. I mean, the black tie events that I've went to, I've just worn black tie. I haven't worn I've just worn a black tie. I haven't worn like a tuxedo, other than like when I've been in a part of a wedding.
Yeah, we're coming up on we hit 20. What year is this? So we hit 23 years ago, and so 25. I mean, we might do the whole like again the wedding again, right? Where you do.
You're gonna have a wedding. Am I invited to your wedding, sir?
I mean, a pretty exclusive list. Let me tell you.
That's the whole thing. I just don't know if I could do it.
Well, and the other part is, so like my in-laws did this, and their wedding party ended up being their daughters. And then oddly enough, I was in her dad's wedding party because at the time I was dating what became my wife at the time, became my wife, but that's when it's happening. You kind of put your kids in the wedding, so you have 3 daughters. Well, you have 2 daughters who probably be her like maids of honor. And then the baby could be a flower girl. And
wow. This is a real thing. This is a real thing, huh?
You never done this before?
No, man. All right, look. So I don't know, buddy.
You have Alex Nain could be your best man, and
I've never heard of this.
Really?
I remember was it a Very Brady when they went to Hawaii? What was that one? Remember the Brady Bunch episode? I think they were renewing their vows.
They were going to renew the vows on Vegas vacation.
They were. I would do Vegas.
Heard of this?
They were.
You're the least romantic man on the face of the planet.
I didn't used to be that way. That's what I hear this all the time. Now, I would do Vegas. Because Vegas, like you just go in, boom, 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 get it done. But I'm just talking about this big event where I got to have a lot of people and all that. I don't know if I want to do that.
All right. Oh,
Man, that's crazy. But I will. How about I just propose again? And
you do
no,
that?
I can't propose. Gee, I don't even know. Forget it. It's off.
I
You
don't
know
know.
what? I'm canceling. I'm canceling the Aruba trip. It's off. It's all off.
I've heard some fights. There may be a chance we should be like, nah, I don't know. Close again. I really have to think about this.
You've heard some fight Nicole and Coach Dash fights in the old Dash household. You've heard the
I've heard it a few times. Yes.
it's like Marissa Tomei and Joe Pesci from my cousin Vinny going at it. Oh man, that's good stuff. Well, speaking of going at it, speaking of grinding, I don't mean that I'm grinding through this relationship. It's fun and I enjoy every second of it. But speaking of, we have a guest today who has really, really just grinded and kind of worked his way and clawed for everything he has, right? And former student of mine, former Fairfax High School, former Westfield High School, former Shepherd University, and now
coming home.
Coming home, current JMU, linebacker, right? JT Kouame, and he joined us today, and what a good guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, what an inspirational story. I mean, you kind of hear a story, and during a story, you're going to hear a lot. I think of the route most high school players are going to have to take at this point with all the new rules in place. This is not your dad's recruiting, NCAA recruiting anymore, right? This is a different world, and I think while he didn't do it because of that, I think his route is probably the route most people are going to take nowadays to get to a Division I.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. So, I guess without further ado, let's do this. We'll do this interview with JT, and I think everyone's really going to enjoy this. I think a lot of players are really going to kind of see, a different side of things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get to that. All right. Well, joining us now, JT Kouame Yao from JMU. Congratulations on the big offer and commit. Just a month ago, less than a month ago, right, JT?
Yeah, less than a month ago, and I mean, I just can't wait. It's been a long journey, and now it's a new step into my career, I guess.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So Westfield grad, man, all the years run together now. So JT, in all openness, was a former student of mine at what is now Catherine Johnson Middle School, a long time ago. And what year did you graduate high school again? What class were you?
That was class of 2022.
2022. Okay, so wow, man, time flies, doesn't it? Time.
Absolutely flies. I mean, I feel like I was a freshman in college like yesterday.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, JT, so and your journey is amazing. We were just talking off camera. I mean, Shepherd and just the clawing at to even get that and the success at Shepherd that you had right away, which is amazing. I remember. I want to tell you this. I remember we did a camp at Shepherd. It must have been probably after your freshman year there. We were at a camp that summer. You just finished your freshman year, and I saw some of the guys, and I said, "Is JT here?" I asked her. I told him, I know JT, and like, oh man, no, it was in the summertime. Like he left. He's back home. They're like, man, but JT's a dog. That's a freshman, but he's a dog. I'm like, I know. I was like, I know he is. So JT, so let's start off the beginning, kind of telling who you are. Kind of. I know you went to Westfield, right? Westfield Bulldog, and FPYC guy. We just had Coach Richards on.
FPYC, no doubt.
Right?
That's the very beginning right there. That's the foundation, and that's where it all started.
So yeah, so kind of start at youth and kind of just take us to high school, and then we'll go from there, buddy.
Man, let's do it. I remember just playing in the neighborhood at first. I mean, that's where it all starts, backyard. And after that, I mean, I told my mom I need this. I need to try this. I mean, I'm having a bunch of fun with it in the backyard. So let's see when we put the pads on. So, I mean, I give a call, I sign up, and randomly one day Coach Richards just calls me and he's like, "Hey, man, come join the team." And that's when it started all. I met a bunch of friends, which ended up being in the team with Tony Rojas that plays at Penn State. And I mean, we had hella games, man. We were just flying around. Ended up going to the championship one year, which was it was in the eighth grade. It was our last year of playing football. We ended up going to the championship. Unfortunately lost, but I mean, I have great memories from youth. Known a bunch of good coaches, made bunch of relationship. Was able to play with my boy Cass, that unfortunately passed away. I mean, through that, I was able to, that was really my foundation and where it all started.
So was football your first sport was it your favorite sport you started? Or I mean, did you play anything before you started playing football?
Yeah, I mean, again, I actually moved from France to
Oh,
here.
where in
Um,
France?
I was born in Paris. I was
Oh
actually
wow.
born in Paris.
Oh,
Yeah, and when I came here, I didn't speak no English, and like I said, all these relationship through football helped me. I mean, people wouldn't even be able to tell that I'm from France until I really tell them. But my first sport was actually soccer, and I actually love playing soccer. I still watch soccer.
yeah.
That was really my first love, I guess you could say. But after, I mean, as soon as I joined FEYC and made all these relationship and had a bunch of fun games, I mean, that's when you just kind of turn over to the other side and look where I am today.
What position did you play in soccer? And then also, how did so I've noticed one thing. A lot of my receivers I coach who play soccer early on, their footwork is on point because of what they do. What you play in soccer, and did you find like where starting off with soccer, did you find that helped a lot with your footwork playing football?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, when I look back at it, when I was young, I mean, it's not just soccer. I ended up doing a bunch of other things. My first sport that I actually really joined was track. I mean, I ended up playing soccer, but all these things kind of relate back to it and kind of built my athleticism, my footwork, my conditioning, just the competitiveness of everything, of just being in sports all the time. I mean, even when just, I mean, Mr. Dash was my PE coach, and I mean, just all the competitiveness, just always just being there and competing, always there, and it translated perfectly to where I am today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I knowing being JT's teacher, PE teacher in middle school, yeah, he was a good soccer player too. I mean, JT could have played anything, and it would have been high level. You know,
No
anything.
doubt, no doubt.
You
And
could have been a good hell of a wrestler too, probably.
yeah, yeah, and I actually wrestled one year in high school too. I mean, I did it all, and just the competitive nature is always there. It's always going to be there.
Now, what you can't teach is the hunger, and so Coach Richards, he knew you're going to be on the show today, and so Coach Richards wrote me, and he said first thing he said was, "Tell JT I said hi," right?
What's
and
up,
then
coach?
he said, so he wrote me a text, and he said because he was your coach at FPYC, and I remember I played against you guys a couple of times because my son was a couple years younger than you, and so we scrimmaged a couple of Coach Richards teams back in the day when I was at BRYC. But he said ask him about on sometimes when if he couldn't get a ride to practice how he would walk, and sometimes it was a miles to practice. So tell is that's a real story then?
That's a true and real story. I remember, I mean, at FEYC, you got to bring your pads home, right? You don't really have a locker. And I used to just walk through the woods and have my little shortcuts and get to practice. And I will tell you this about Coach Josh and Coach Richards. Yeah, I mean, I remember sometimes he would actually take me home after practice, and this is where I've never really told him this, but this is where I really like truly fell in love with the sport. And Coach Richards saw my talent very early. And sometimes when it was just me in the car riding back home, he literally used to tell me, I mean, if you just keep working hard at it, keep having that competitive spirit that you have, I mean, eventually you could do something big. And he will always and always has been here for me and to help me and giving me advice. And all throughout my recruiting process, I mean, I'm always on the phone with Coach Richards and just making sure that I'm making the right decision, making sure he's always there for me. And I have a bunch of people like that throughout my life that I met. And like I said, everything really started in youth. Everything really started there. But I mean, I will be honest to you, walking to practice with my pads in my hands, all those things are really the little things, and those really matter because at the end of the day, I mean, I was still a young kid, you know. To me, walking to practice was a regular thing. I never really knew this was like a struggle thing. And oh, now to me, it's just I just wanted to play. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to compete. I wanted to win. So that was just that's just the little things you got to do to be able to do that.
I love it. I love it, JT. And the other thing, I remember, I remember talking to you back then, and you had a couple driving forces in middle school and even in high school. When I saw you a couple of times, some of the Fairfax Woodson game early on as a freshman, because you were at Fairfax freshman year,
Yeah, yeah. I was at Fairfax freshman year, and
right?
I mean, even then, I mean, I was always there. I always played linebacker.
Yeah, I
Always
remember.
competed. Always played both ways. I mean, always there in the weight room, lifting big time. And one thing I will say is that when we were at Fairfax High School, my freshman year, that's when Coach Taylor took over the program. Will say that his weight training program and everything that he put us through really started me just being strong and taking care of business, looking for my weight. What weight do I need to be at? And he set that foundation very early. That helped me out a lot. And I'm sure it helped out a lot of kids. And look what he did with Tony and a bunch of stuff like that. And that was great. And that was definitely one part of my journey that definitely affected me for sure.
I'm glad you're saying that because a couple of things. One, that's something that Mason knows. I've talked about it all during the season about Coach Taylor in the weight room, right? He does a phenomenal job in the weight room, getting his guys stronger. He's probably one of the best at that, I'd say, in the area. So I agree with you on that. Other part of that is, and I know Mesa is always harping on this, right? The importance of a lot of these kids don't get it. They think they could just go and do some curls at their local gym, and
Yeah.
that's good enough to get stronger for football.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll talk about this later on just when we go throughout my story, but just younger guys just need to understand that there's so many other guys doing the same thing that you're doing. What's separating you? What's making you different than other kids? I mean, I mean, and a lot of people got to understand that football is also a business, you know, and that's something I didn't really understand at first. And even if you're good, that's not enough. Like that's not even enough. You have to have your image. How you kind of carry yourself around other people? How do people look at you? All these things, all these little details matter. It's not just about playing the game and that's huge. That's huge, and that's what kids have to understand. I mean, when you're in a weight room, like every opportunity that you have to get better, you have to be able to grab that. You have to be able to take it and do as much as you can with it, because you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. This might be your last night playing football, and if you don't give it your all, you will regret it, and that's gonna hurt you more than anything.
So you move on. I know you ended up finish up at Westfield. What are some of the people there who kind of really helped you out there at Westfield and kind of helped you kind of push you along and create kind of the player you are now?
Oh yeah, so I knew a bunch of people from Westfield through my friend, my brother Cass. I knew a bunch of people like Eugene Asante that played Auburn. Yeah, Noah Kim that just went to Eastern Michigan now. Kaylee William that plays at Maryland. I mean, I knew all these guys already just through all these relationships that I had, and and I already knew over there was just competitive, a winning program, and I think that really changed my mindset a lot. I saw how they did it over there. I saw the different competitiveness that they had, and I kind of really already had that, and I just kept competing, and of course my sophomore year, like it's again, and that's what I kind of really like about my story. I wasn't always a varsity kid, you know. I started as a freshman playing freshman football. Then I went to JV my sophomore year, and that's when I started playing my junior year. I was making a bunch of plays all over the field, you know. I was on varsity making a bunch of plays. We had great games. Um, but my change at Westfield was huge. It was to me. I think I was surrounded by a lot of guys that really wanted to play, and that affected me a lot. Coach Simmons, which also is a coach that has won a lot of games and know what it takes to win. I had my defensive coaches. Shout out to Coach Davis Coach Davis, and I still text him to this day. He actually texted me this morning. Coach Blair, that meant a lot with just linebacker work, understanding things. Coach Bendorf that texted me congratulations with my commitment and everything. But all these coaches and this whole entire family that they have, and culture that they have at Westfield absolutely helped me out a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I can only imagine as a young backer, going to Westfield as Eugene Asante is, graduating. And that's to see that, right? To have that kind of someone to look up to, and funny story. So my first year coaching youth league ever was we had Eugene on our team.
Oh,
And yeah, so we had Eugene, and we had his cousin Sar, and then we had and then my older son Alex, and Alex was a big kid at that time, so Alex led block, and then Eugene, we'd give the ball to Eugene, and Eugene would house it. He was a little guy.
yeah.
He was like 6.5 years old. He didn't know what he was doing. We just gave Eugene the ball. I'm gonna try and get Eugene on the show later in the offseason. We just give Eugene the ball and he'd be gone. We won a championship. It's the only championship I ever won at Braddock Road was that first year with Eugene on our team.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast, and he's doing it at every level. I mean, he's absolutely awesome. I know he's going to get a shot to the league, and I mean, I have no doubt he's going to do great.
So you get there, good pedigree of winning and culture, and you kind of do your thing there now. So by senior year, yeah, you were what? You were an all conference guy, right? Senior year.
Yeah, I was already an all conference guy, and honestly, I'm not really gonna lie to you. My junior year, I should have been definitely getting some awards, but we're not really gonna talk about that. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My junior year, I was absolutely playing. I was playing great. I was actually making some plays in very important games. I mean, I was all over the field when we played Madison. I was all over the field when we played Centerville. They had the last second play. They were at the like 2 yard line, and they ran to like a double pass, and I was able to stop it, which was huge. But I mean, I ended up just covering it all up when I was a senior. And even when I was a senior, I actually ended up dislocating my wrist. But I played through it and absolutely just balled, and nothing stopped me from doing what I do well.
So your senior year, you start to get recruited. What did you think the recruiting process was going to be like, and then what surprised you how it actually worked for you?
Um, so so what happened is that my sophomore year, I mean, as you guys know, we all COVID. And I wasn't always a big kid, I was actually started being very skinny. I mean, as a freshman in high school, I was like 125, somewhere around
Wow.
that, which was actually very small. And through COVID, I was actually able to gain my weight to the point where as a junior, I already went to 210,
Wow.
215.
Cool.
But I mean, I was eating. I knew what I had to do, and it started, like I said, it started with all the relationship I had and all the advice, and I knew I had to get big if I wanted to play linebacker. The athleticism was always there, like, but I had to get bigger, and I got bigger. I got bigger. I got faster. I got stronger, and but as you know, COVID was there, and that made college kids have a COVID year. And on top of that, they had a redshirt year. But I will say to you that I think the class of 2022 was really the class 2020 the class of 2022 2023 was really that last class where recruitment didn't change too much. Colleges were still recruiting high school kids. Now it's a lot different. You have the transfer portal, so you can just look in there and just grab somebody that already's been playing. But again, when I came out of high school, I already knew I was getting under recruited. Like I was getting under recruited. I was not happy about how my recruitment went, and and like I said, because of COVID, I knew it affected my recruitment. But to me, it didn't matter because I know my skills, and I know wherever school I need to go, I was gonna do my thing. And my goal when I was getting recruited to get recruited by a winning program. That was my number one goal. And I was talking to a few schools like Notre Dame College, Fairmont State, And the last week, and matter of fact, the last few days of my recruitment, Coach Simmons took me in his office. He was like, "Oh, you should hit up Shepherd because they always come by." And I hit up Shepherd. I saw their winning program. I saw they had a bunch of good players like Tyson, Joey Fisher, and right away, I didn't even need to hear much. As long as they were winning, I knew I wanted to go there.
Yeah, I think you put a really good point. Uh, I'm sure when we start talking about JMU is the lack of freshmen, right? I'm sure you see a lot less freshmen, and a lot more sophomores and juniors, just because of the portal, right? Because guys are just constantly moving in the portal. And then we had talked we talked to another coach about the JUCO rule now too, right? So now you have guys who are playing 2 years of JUCO, and they're coming in. I guess they are freshmen technically, but they're 20, 21 years old, coming in as freshmen. So I think your recruitment story, I mean, as we get through it, is going to be more commonplace, right? Unless you're a 5-star, right? Unless you're a 5-star or a 4-star, most of the guys who are 3-star athletes are going to end up having to go like the route that you went, which I think is pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, and no doubt, and that's what I'm saying. I think D2 is gonna be more popular real soon,
Yeah,
and
and
people
there,
are
there
gonna
gonna be some
real.
dogs. There's gonna be some dogs in D2 now, right? Like there's gonna be some dudes who before would have been playing group of five, maybe even like at PWs or power fives, and now they're gonna be at D2. Like D2 is gonna get tough, I'd imagine.
And I think for the high school guys, the main thing that they need to understand is that you need to play.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how good you are, the feeling of being on the field and being able to play during game days is different. Like the way you practice and the way you do things and where you train, if you can do that when it's time to, when people actually want you to do that, need you to do that to be able to win games, then what's all that for? You have to be able to have that experience and that feel of being on the field and
yeah,
everybody's watching. If you don't have that, then you're gonna lose it. Like I know a lot of guys that started and went to big schools and didn't end up playing. And all these years, you haven't played in one single game. What makes you think that you're gonna randomly 2, 3 years go in a game and absolutely ball out? You're not gonna be used to the feeling of playing, and I think that's huge.
I think that's such good advice, JT. It's such good advice. We just had Coach Lavara from Hampton Sydney at D3 school,
Mhm.
and he was talking, and he was saying the same kind of stuff, same kind of stuff. And it's a trickle down effect, and we're seeing these really good players now who are kind of playing down from where they might have played once before. Some of these lower tier D1 guys going down to D2, some of these lower tier D2 guys now going down to D3,
Yeah.
and then some of these good football players that would have played D3. They were solid football players. Now they're not playing anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and so you grinded your tail off. You're at Westfield, senior year. You're kind of waiting. You got a couple offers from Notre Dame College, a couple other schools. You're waiting. You talked to Shepherd. It was, and you said it was late in the game, right? You said it was springtime.
Yeah, it was like a few days because I was a big school that I actually was talking to was Fairmont State. They really wanted me. Like if Shepherd didn't work out, Fairmont State was going to be the school that I would have committed to. Um, and yeah, and like I'm not even. It wasn't even a week. It might have been like 3, 4 days. I mean, as soon as I got in contact with them, and I went on a visit, and that day I committed.
So then committed to Shepherd. Huge. And what great timing, right? So you go off to Shepherd that summer, graduate, and that team was rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that team was like I'll tell you, I remember the first few days I was there during camp. I mean, everybody was close together. Everybody was like a family over there at Shepherd because all these kids played together for so long, you know. And I mean, I fit right in. I mean, I was competitive. I mean, there was something that I needed to prove through all this recruitment process of just me being stressed and under recruited. But as soon as I found a home, it was just such a relief. It was such a relief, and I just got straight to work, and it showed all throughout that season. Of course, I mean, I didn't start and started actually playing till like later in the season. But it took some times. I started on special teams, and that's what you got to do. You have to find a way to be on the field regardless of where you are. It started on special teams. Then after slowly until like the third, fourth game of the season, I already started playing. And after I already had the experience throughout the season. And when it came down to it, one of our linebacker, which Wheezy or Dwayne Grantham from Shepherd, which absolute great player right there. And I learned a lot from him. And I will say that he was in our room. Absolutely, he was actually a JUCO guy too. And I mean, that's how you know that at every level football doesn't really change. If you are good at what you do, you will find a way to ball out. You will find a way for people to notice you, and I think that's something that's huge about my story too. But at every level, you will find guys that know how to play football. And when it came down to it, when I started learning just from being on the field since the beginning on special teams, then started playing little by little during the playoffs time, my coach was not scared to just put me in after one of our linebackers got hurt. He was fine with that. He already knew I knew the plays. You get your call and you execute. That was it.
Yeah, well, I think that's a testament to kind of your hard work. Um, now another thing I'm curious what your perspective was. So you came from a really good high school football program in Westfield.
Yep.
You got to Shepherd and saw those guys there. Like, was it? I'd imagine. I mean, every guy I talk to was college. They go when you step onto a college football team, like the level of talent, like is like they're the best team I've ever seen. Like as you walk on the field, I mean, what was it? Was it crazy to get on the field where you're like, dude, every guy here can freaking play?
Yeah, it was real different because I knew every guy could play, but at the same time, like I mean, football's football, like I mean, it's not I don't think it's that tricky, like, like you gotta want it to the point where competing is always in you. Like if you're used to competing and used to doing all these things, the only thing that's really gonna change is the structure of the team. But the truth is, if you're always willing to step up during these drills and compete, if you're always willing to step up when it's time to actually do the things that you've been coached and trained and being able to be coachable and everything, all these things are just, to me, is the foundation. If you don't have that foundation, it will be different to you. But if you do have that foundation, it's just another stepping stone. Like you just have to, it's just another step for you to become better and better, and you will embrace that and you will become better.
Well, you have that great work ethic, man. You really do. And I wanted to say this, and I know your mom's proud of you, and because I remember your mom from back at
Yeah,
back at
yeah, no
Lanier,
doubt.
and so I know she's proud, and I know you dedicate a lot of the stuff you do to your mom. I know that's how you are. So
Yeah,
um,
no doubt. My mom has been through a lot with me and my brother. I mean, you remember my brother Loic?
that was my guy. That was my
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. But yeah, my mom has been through a lot, put me through a lot. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a grind. You need to understand that nothing in life is going to be easy. And I think all the struggle that I've been through has made me who I am today, and I don't mind that. And I don't mind going again. I don't mind struggling again to earn what I have. And yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, with that work ethic, man, it's no wonder you've made this jump and this climb. All right, so year one at Shepherd, you get on the field, now you're playing, and you guys made that deep run, right? And
Yeah,
the championship game, wasn't it?
Yeah, we made the deep run. We went to the regional championship, and the regional championship was the first game where I actually like started,
Wow.
and I remember I was a little stressed a little bit, but I mean we ended up blowing that team away. I mean we actually played them in the regular season championship, and we lost to them. That was our first loss of the season, and we came back in the regional. It was my first game starting, and we destroyed them. We went to the Final Four, flew all the way out to Colorado, play Colorado School of Mine. We played on ESPN. I mean, you're from Division Two. Everything is a little different. So I mean, we are all happy. We are happy to be there to compete. Unfortunately, we lost, but I will say it was one of the greatest experiences I've had. Just being able to see what it's like to make it that far. And after when we lost that game, that's where I understood that regardless of what I do, winning needs to be what I want, and winning needs to be the product of everything I've worked for. Like I need to start winning, and that's what it is. And that's something huge that I learned from Shepherd, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, that you guys had a lot to be proud of. I mean, you guys put, I mean, and obviously being on the East Coast, being from the DMV, right? We
Yeah.
all already knew Shepherd, but other people in other areas did not, and they knew who they were after that run.
Oh
And
yeah.
with you guys playing the way you did, and Badgett, Tyson Badgett playing the way he did, and getting going to the Bears, and actually starting for the Bears.
Yeah.
Heck, there were some fans that were calling for him to start this year. I
Yeah,
mean,
no doubt.
so remarkable. You guys left a mark. You left a mark there, and that's always something to be proud of.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And great season right there.
So then year two, you came back to Shepherd year two, and did you start most of the season in year two?
Year two, yeah, I started every game. I got comfortable, and during that spring after that season, I mean, I was just grinding, grinding, and that's when I started taking the game a little more seriously. At least the mental part of it, just understanding down the distance situations and things like that. And that's when I really locked in with my linebacker coach, Coach Klein and Coach William from Shepherd, and I understood that I needed to take it a step further, and I started every game, balled out, led the team in tackles, had 3 picks, I had one forced fumble, and all that. It was just a bunch of fun out there, and we actually ended up going to the playoffs and flew out to Lower. I mean, we didn't fly out, but we took the bus to Lenore Ron, and 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 I mean that was a great run. Also, a bunch of great guys on the team all over the place, and that year was a great year, and that's when I understood that this is it. Like, I'm a starter now. This is not like now I need to elevate even more to the point where I need to dominate during games. And I had a bunch of games. My first game, I had 12 tackles. I had another game where I had 10 tackles, 2 picks. Um, and that year was really a growth year for me. And I will not lie to you, there was days where I struggled a little bit in the film room. I struggled a little bit, but that, like I said, it's all part of the process. And this is where you get to know how you're built, you know.
So when you're struggling mentally, like what are some things you do? Like what are some things you do to kind of get yourself right? So when you say you're struggling a bit, what are some things that you try to do yourself to try to make sure you get yourself back on the right track?
Yeah, and I will say this to a lot of kids and that's out there. To me, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Christ. And I try to be my Bible every day. I try to understand that there's something higher than all this that what we're doing out here, and we are blessed to be. And I believe that everything that's happened in my life could never be random. Like it just can't. All the people I meet, all the choices I make, all the situations and trouble that and the adversity I've came through, it just can't be random. And once I understood what Christ has done for me on the cross, I mean, I start to understand that all these trouble is just part of my journey. I need to embrace that. I need to take that and absolutely embrace it and absolutely love it. And as soon as you love the process, you love the grind, everything's gonna be okay. And look where I am today. I mean, to this day, I just can't believe it. And every day I pray and I thank Him from the bottom of my heart. And 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 I don't need to worry. Like I truly don't need to worry because I know what I put in. I know the grind I put in. I know all the hard work I put in. And now it's just time for me to do my thing when he gives me the opportunity to. So no doubt.
Yeah. So you have this fantastic season at Shepherd, right? You have the fantastic season. You're all conference, right? Your first team all conference.
First team all conference
Yeah.
this season, which was my yeah, my junior season. I mean, I ended up I mean, this year is just really where the game kind of really slowed down for me. My coaches got had me playing a bunch of different positions, but I was still that linebacker, but I was more the hybrid linebacker, missing off the edge, down the middle, making sure I'm dropping off in coverage sometimes. But I mean, this year I will tell you, I was having fun out there. This year was absolutely the year where I understood a lot more things, and at first it was a little hard for me because it was a little hard for me at first this year, but once I started putting more trust in my coaches and what they have planned, everything just went so smoothly. I mean, I had a game. I ended up being the player of the week of the PSAC. Ended up getting, I think it was like something around 13 tackles and 3.5 TFLs, like that. I had another game with sacks. I think it was like around nine tackles. Um, just going out there and absolutely understanding the game and dominating. And this year has really been a fun year.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's impressive stuff. If we had the fantasy draft, Mesa, I'm gonna draft JT early in my fantasy draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you finish up junior. You just finish up your junior year,
Yep.
right?
And
Junior
yeah.
season, and then so how does that process work? So you finish that, and then was it transfer portal, or how does it talk us through how some of these kids who are maybe they're a year away
Yeah.
from trying to do something like this? How did the process go?
I will say this, everything happens fast. Like it happens. Like when you think about it, I really hit the transfer portal like a month and a half ago. Like all this process of getting recruited happened in less than a month. And every day you're asking yourself, oh, like I'm hitting up coaches everywhere. Oh, I need to find a school. And the kids that want to do that needs to understand that there's a lot of kids that hit the portal and don't play football ever again. Like it really gets scary like that in the transfer portal. So you have people to understand one thing. Why would a coach pick you up from the transfer portal? Like you have to have a resume. You have to something to show who you are. If you don't have that, why would a coach pick you up? And you have to understand that teams you also have to understand that coaches have jobs, like and a lot of teams. To me, I was going through that a little bit through my recruiting processes. That Division 2 ends a little bit earlier than Division 1, and a lot of other Division 1 school are still playing. And a lot of times when I hit the transfer portal, a bunch of teams were already playing, and I wasn't getting all the texts and all the love that I really wanted. And after that, you have to be able to be patient through this process and just keep your head down and keep grinding and wait for your opportunity. The one thing I will say that I have is I had my highlights with me behind me. I had my resume. And at one point, all my coaches that I asked help for just told me you don't need to worry. Like if you have something that you are good at and you post it out there, somebody is going to come at you. Just be patient. And I was patient. I was hitting up coaches every day, just making sure I was good. And when I got on the phone with these coaches, I made sure they understood who I am, and 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 that was something huge. Like when you get on the phone with a coach, you can't just be wasting his time, you know. That's your opportunity right there. But
Yeah.
I think that's something that's huge is you have to have something to show for yourself.
So you end up getting quite a few offers. UTEP, am I right? Did you
Yeah,
apply?
UTEP, Bryant University,
Yeah.
Long Island, and Western Illinois.
But you ended up closing on JMU.
Yeah,
What about JMU that you were like, dude, this is a place I want to be. This is where I want to go.
the first time the coach actually called me was it was already like I already knew like the way he talked to me, the way he presented himself, the way
And which coach was this?
this was the linebacker coach, Coach Sparber.
Okay.
Yeah, at JMU, he called me. I mean, we straight on the phone. He talked to me about the scheme and everything and how he wants me to fit into the team. And as soon as he did that, I mean, I already knew. All I needed to do is just be patient and everything that he told me, just remember it. And when we get on the call again, just really show him that I care and I really want to be a part of this winning program. And I literally watched him win their first bowl game in the program history. And I mean, everything just lined up perfectly. And he decided to bring me on a visit with my family, and I will say they took care of me and my family. They really showed me a lot of love. And as soon as I got in the office with the head coach, I already knew, boom, like this is where I want to be. This is where I want my new home to be. This is where I want to compete and win games.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, you made a good choice, man. I mean, coming from Northern Virginia, when you talk
Yeah,
about JMU, that's where everybody wants to go. Right?
that's where everybody wants to go, no doubt.
Right? Everybody
That's where
wants to go.
everybody
I
wants to
look at
go.
the kids that graduate every year from Woodson and all these other high schools. Not even football. Football is one thing. They kill to play football there. Just to go as students, they want to go there.
Yeah.
Like JMU is just one of those sought after schools, and then you combine that with a football program that's on the rise the way they are. That's a great thing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I will say, like, even just thinking about everything that's happened, I mean, it really just puts a smile on my face on how it ended up working out. And right now, like, I'm not there yet, but I'm absolutely grinding every day, just making sure everything's all right. So when I get there, I can really show off my skills.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to ask.
what
Well, I was just going to ask. So how does that work? So you still have to finish off the school year, right? And then you head over there in May, or is that how it goes?
No, I'm actually heading over there in a few days, matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
So I'm transferring from the fall to the spring. So in the spring, I'll be there and I'll be able to learn about all the defense, the calls and everything, and get used to the whole program. And next year,
Yeah.
I'll be playing there, and hopefully everything goes all right.
Oh, that's perfect. That's great.
what's your major? What's your major?
Yeah, I'm majoring in business.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's smart. That's smart.
yeah,
Smart to learn about
business.
money.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just he's a
definitely.
smart man right there. Hey, you
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want to do PE though. You love PE. You could
But
have been
yeah,
with me and Wilkinson. You could have been doing PE with us.
maybe get an internship with you guys, something like that. But yeah, everything is great right now. I got everything set up. I got my dorm set up and everything. And, oh my gosh, I just can't wait to just get started and things like that.
And you probably and there's probably people there too already. Like a lot of people you already know.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that I already know there, and mostly students, like you said. I mean, we're
Right.
from Northern Virginia. We're like 2 hours away from JMU. We're like not even maybe an hour and a half, somewhere around there. But
Yeah.
a bunch of my friends that went to Westfield and went to Fairfax go there, so I'll be nice and comfortable down there.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. Might need to check some games out next year. I might need to come out there.
Oh no, that just hit me up. I got you. I got you.
I'll
Hit me
talk
up.
to I'll try and get Coach Wilkie and Coach Richards out there. We'll all go out there together.
Please do, man. That would be awesome. You guys watching me, that actually make me happy.
Dude. Well, you make us proud, man. You really do. Um, Coach Mason, and we were talking about lining up our, the off-season guests, and your journey was something that I wanted to highlight, and that's something we were talking about. And then the JMU news broke, and I'm like, all right, that's it. We're calling JT. We're getting JT on the show, man. So just very proud of you, buddy. Very proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I will say something too. I mean, just for all the kids out there, I actually talked to one of my guys that's in high school right now, that's kind of getting recruited, and he has a bunch of stats and stuff like that. But I mean, he's still getting under recruited. That it's okay to go D2, and I promise you that if you go D2, you will get better. And if you are good at what you do, I promise you in D2 you will get recognized, you will be seen. Absolutely. And to everyone that goes out there and end up going to D2, I will say that whichever school you go to, it's gonna be a grind. You're gonna have to grind. Like nothing is gonna be easy, regardless of what level you go to. People know how to play football, and you're gonna have to be one of those persons if you think you can do it.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice, man. I mean, I knew you had a story to tell. I knew you'd have a lot of good things to say to a lot of the athletes. I mean, honestly, that's good news for anyone, no matter where you are, whether it's Nova, Southern Virginia,
Yeah.
or out west. It doesn't matter. But that's good for our audience to hear that, because there are a lot of kids being under recruited right now. And they're gonna have, if they have that dream, like you said, they're gonna have to grind.
They're definitely gonna have to grind, but also being able to play the game too. Like you got to be able to play the game on and off the field. Like I said, character, the things you post on social media, uh, all of that is part of a whole. It's just all a big game, and you got to be able to play it right. And that's what you're gonna win.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, hey, look, JT, I don't want to keep you any longer, man. I appreciate you joining us today. That's your journey is something we're gonna keep track of and keep highlighting that as we go, as you dominate and we watch JMU continue to do good things.
Please do. Go Dukes. Go Dukes.
Yeah, buddy, go Dukes, man. That's Fairfax University, man. So all of Fairfax is rooting for the Dukes. You know that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Good luck, man.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey,
appreciate
JT, Kouame, we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks for coming on today, bud.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right. Well, I mean, that was a fantastic interview with JT. I thought JT really, really hit it on the head and I think got that message hopefully home to a lot of, aspiring, collegiate players out there.
Yeah, what a solid young man. What a solid young man with a great attitude, right? I mean, you kind of hear his positivity in everything he does, right? I mean, you didn't hear any kind of negativity out of him, and I think when you have to go through what he went through, on top of kind of performing the way he kind of performed, I mean, just kind of have that positive attitude has got to be. It just helps you leaps and bounds, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things, right? That like you identify from a young age, right? It's not a coincidence that the guy who's grinding and walking 2 miles to youth practice, right?
Right.
That this is the guy who ends up freaking grinding and finally getting that big time Division I scholarship, going into his halfway through his junior year.
Yeah, and now we got another Fairfax guy on the JMU football team. They're going to rally around support, right?
Yeah. I mean, that'll be the face, right? We had Eugene Asante, right, from Westfield. No coincidence there either, right? Good programs are going to breed good players,
right?
And so Eugene Asante now kind of finishing up, in college and heading off probably to the NFL draft, and then now enter JT Kouame, and he's going to do his thing, and he's probably going to start right out of the gates over at JMU.
How good would the Lanier, if you would have had middle school sports, how good would the Lanier football team have been?
Man, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you, it's funny you say that, but him talking about some of those names, right?
Yeah.
He's throwing out himself, obviously. Tony Rojas from Penn State, obviously. He's throwing out at quarterback, Noah Kim, who also went to Lanier.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, but he went to Lanier. And then you got guys like some of those, like you said, some of the young bucks that were on those teams with Tony as well, like Dylan Lyerly, who's playing really good football at Salisbury, Jack Balderson, good D lineman. I mean, the list goes on and on. We had some solid squads over there.
You could have been Nick Saban of the Alabama middle school football if you got a coach.
That's right. That's right. I would have been just rocking and rolling. I would have had rings all over the place. I mean, and then actually, you're not wrong. And if you go back to Lanier, Catherine Johnson now, it had Brian Robisky. Really? Yeah. I'm not done. From Penn State, Evan Royster was also a Lanier guy, Catherine Johnson guy. Scott Turner, who's now an NFL coach, North Turner, his son, also a Lanier guy. I want to say that I think he was or he came a year later and was at Fairfax. Owen Schmidt, the runaway beer truck, was also. These guys were all there in Fairfax City in like a 3-year span of each other.
That's a pretty impressive list. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
And which is why we said, and we said this last offseason, right? But what Tony was able to spark at Fairfax and able to make it, want kids play again and kids trying to play. There's talent. There's always been talent in Fairfax City, but you had to get them to stay. Right. And that's what's happening. And that's not a coincidence that Coach Taylor and Fairfax has really been a pretty dominant team over the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, like I said, you would have been the all-time, greatest middle school coach of all time.
I would have been that would have been Coach Wilkinson. I would have been Coach Wally. I would have been his D coordinator. My kind of team, Charlie. My kind of team.
That's the kind of team sometimes where you can just call plays, close your eyes, been like,
that's right.
And then
that's when you just send the house every time.
Yeah, man up.
You got more talent than everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, buddy, that was a good interview with JT. Glad we did that. Can't wait to follow him this next year.
Yeah,
and see what he does, man. I'm sure it's great things. Yeah. And make Fairfax proud, man. Making Northern Virginia proud.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch them.
All right, but well, another fun interview. And look at that. And we got these interviews rocking and rolling, don't we? We're bringing the creme de la creme of Nova here.
We are.
You know, and you and I were talking about this, and you know, down the road, I mean, we're going to bring all types of, you know, some different students that took different journeys. Right. And JT's journey was one. You've got the journey that, you know, the Division I, you know, Power 5 right out of college, like a Tony Rojas type journey, which hopefully we can get to him at some point. And then you have other guys who, you know, do it, you know, were PWOs or walk-ons and had to kind of do it that way. So we hope in the next, you know, a month, 2 months, you know, while we start covering 7-on-7s, we can bring kind of a lot of players' journeys, Nova players, kind of college journeys over to you guys, our audience.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, that's all she wrote, buddy, from Dash and Dan at all Hitches. We'll see you next time.
See ya.